I'm Kurt Flegel, and I moved here, 6 years ago. Moved here to the Central Coast to start a church plant. I thought it was going to be this, incredibly easy, glorious thing, though everyone was telling me how hard it was going to be. And it was going to be the hardest thing I ever did. And oh man, it's turned out to be that in so many ways, more than I ever realized. Struggles in my family, issues with my kids, emotional issues. And then a few years ago, I was diagnosed with liposarcoma. Turned out I had a 10-inch tumor in my right leg. And going through that process was surgery to cut that out, no radiation or chemo. But the reason that I went in to even get diagnosed for whatever was going on with me is I was becoming more and more weak, and my legs was the most noticeable thing, but also just in my arms and my throat. I was having trouble swallowing. They were hoping, okay, maybe this weakness is some kind of immunoresponse that the body's doing, going kind of wacky, trying to figure out how to deal with the cancer, only to discover that I hit the anti-jackpot, the anti-lottery twice. Not only did I have this rare kind of cancer, I also had another rare disease, a neurological disease called inclusion body myositis. And what that is it's basically this disease attacks every muscle group in the legs, arms, and throat, so the extremities, and it destroys them. And so over the last few years, I've lost strength, I'm losing strength in my arms, legs, and throat, to the point where at this time, I can barely even open like Ziploc bags. My grip is gone. What a manly thing to turn to my teenage daughters and ask them to open a bag of potato chips, because I can't. I can barely get up and down stairs, out of chairs. I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. And at the same time, I would say I wouldn't trade this for anything. I would not trade where I am. Because in the midst of all that, in my weakness, as the Apostle Paul once said and wrote, in the midst of my weakness, I found God's power to be greater. Most likely, unless God chooses to heal me, I'll be in a wheelchair within 5 years. But the presence of God in my life has been amazing. I may never be healed outside, but the healing that he's doing in my mind and in my emotions and in my relationships, it's priceless. It's worth everything. Well, I'm grateful for God's healing in my relationships. I'm grateful for where my wife and I are. We're the healthiest we've been in a long, long time in the midst of all this. I'm grateful for just who he is to me, that he's Father God, and that he's making me more aware of my own stuff in each moment, right? Like showing me where he is. I'm grateful that I don't have to worry about the future. I don't have to worry about what other people think or what they're going to do. I can be present with God right now. So that's what I'm most grateful for. I know him as a God who is good and compassionate and caring and loving more now than I ever have in the midst of this disease. I know him to be good more than ever before. That's what I'm most grateful for.